of the king. Bill Tierney, the Lombardi of lacrosse, won 6 national championships at Princeton. He spent 22 seasons prowling the Tigers sideline while ushering a dynasty. Tonight, he'll face his old team for the first time since departing for Denver a decade ago. Quint Kesnick with the legend pregame.
Coach, you walk out on the field, you see those 6 championship banners. What emotions are you dealing with right now?
Just so many mixed things, Quint. You know, it's an amazing thing to be back here. So many years of just great people, they're great experiences. My boys playing for me, just all the great people, and yet you got this thing hanging over your head that you can't enjoy that. It's a game tonight, and you got a team, and they've got a team, and you got to go play. So it's been mixed, but you know, blessed to be at both spots. That's for sure.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Tierney looks for milestone win number 400 tonight. He'll be fighting his old team. He'll be fighting the emotions as well. Number 9 Denver and Princeton about ready for face-off. Anish Shroff alongside former Tiger All-American Ryan Boyle, who played for Bill Tierney. We're talking about a coach whose father was a beer truck driver. Mother was a nurse. Tierney went to college to play baseball and dreamt of being a high school football coach on Long Island. Instead, he ended up as the greatest lacrosse coach of all time. The legend began here. It was cemented in Denver.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, 6 national championships here in Princeton. When he left for Denver, anybody that knows Coach T knew it was going to be a matter of when, not so much if. It took him 5 years at Princeton, a whopping 6 to get a national championship in Denver.
He told us when we talked to him yesterday, this is not just another game. For the guys on the Princeton sideline, it's been a decade. They don't know Bill Tierney. They haven't played for Bill Tierney. He's a Denver Pioneer now and looking to lead his team to another win. On the sideline for Princeton, a program that has not been the same since Bill Tierney left. Matt Madelon, 3rd full season as the Tigers head coach. Princeton enters the game having lost 5 out of 6. Denver looks to build off its biggest win of the season, a weekend of triumph at Towson. Jack Henry Vara at the faceoff X for Princeton, and the freshman Brett Bowes for Denver. And Princeton controls the opening draw. It's Luke Anderson, the freshman, who brings it into the attack area for the Tigers.
Princeton, maybe the only team in Division I that I'm aware of that has 3 shorties on that faceoff. So they elect not to use a long pole based off their personnel. They feel like that gives them the best odds.
A Tiger team that began the season with a 16-goal win against Monmouth. Last 2 weeks, though, they were buried by an avalanche of goals against both Penn and defending champion Yale.
See cutters! See cutters! See cutters! Go on! Go on! Go on!
Tigers probing inside, and they get the first salvo of the game. Emmett Cordray having a breakout senior season, Ryan.
And Denver really didn't put any pressure behind the goal. This is something that they stole from North Carolina's playbook. Coincidentally, former Princeton assistant coach Dave Metzbauer, who's down there, they used that film in order to really utilize this strategy. Great job by Cordray going underneath, taking that extra step, but Denver, no slide, no pressure, an easy one.
2 notables in that possession. Colin Squires draws the Michael Sowers matchup. And Denver will not, they'll still wait for you on goal line extended. They don't get involved with the 2-man games behind the goal.
Sowers, 22 in white, one of the most electric players in college lacrosse. Princeton 2 for 2 on faceoffs. Here comes Stevens. He'll fire, top shelf. Jake Stevens, a freshman from Zach Currier's old high school, and there were flashes of old Currier there.
Absolutely, taking ground ball off the wing. Nobody stops the ball. Absolute hammer in transition. This Princeton team came ready to play.
Those 6 championship banners behind one of the goals, a reminder every day to these Princeton players what Bill Tierney accomplished in his 22 seasons at Old Nassau. 2 goals in 10 seconds for the Tigers.
Come on, Jack! Come on, Jack! Work, Jack! Work! Work! Work!
Denver has its first possession. Here's Ethan Walker, the Big East Player of the Year a season ago. That's a shot, so the shot clock does reset. 80-second shot clock on possession this year. Teams have 20 seconds to get it across the midfield line. And in the first 20 seconds of possession, you can go over and back. First midfield for Denver. Ted Sullivan, the hero against Towson, the hat trick, including the game winner. Along with Jack Hanna and Colton Jackson, who will be shooting on his former high school teammate Eric Peters.
Hey, backside,
Here is Sullivan, big physical lefty out of Tucson, Arizona. Down the alley. Checked by David Sturtz, the junior. Ellis Geis now, the freshman, 6'4". Got a big right-handed shot. He's got the short stick matchup in Stevens. Geis spinning inside and turned away. Did not hit the, no, it did hit the goal. So a new shot clock, 80 seconds, and maybe this is what the officials will confer on.
It appeared from up here that it missed the cage altogether.
And they reset the shot clock. And they will reset it to 29. So we were right. Initially, it looked like it did not hit the goal. So the shot clock is now at 29. Austin French, quarterback of this offense, 4 in black. Pioneers debuting the black jerseys. More on that in a minute. Sullivan picking up where he left off over the weekend, and Denver's on the board.
Denver goal scored by number 33, Ted Sullivan.
Simple left-handed dodge here by Sullivan from behind the cage. Surprised that Princeton didn't have a slide prepared. If they did have a slide, it was definitely late there. Anderson looked like he kind of went for that overhead check, so dangerous around goal line extended. If you don't land that, you're just giving your opponent the opportunity to run top side, and Sullivan took exactly that.
The story behind the black jerseys. Denver debuting them tonight. Princeton first broke them out championship weekend 1992 when Tierney won his first national championship. Chance for a long pole goal, and yes, indeed, it's Matt Neufeld, the Maryland transfer. Ryan, you and I were talking pregame. What kind of game will this be? High scoring, low scoring, fireworks early.
Denver has been one of the top defenses nationally. Princeton, not so much. So no surprise to see this game already creating a lot of momentum, a lot of goal scoring early. Neufeld, so dangerous off the turf and so dangerous in transition. That's where Princeton maybe could have used a long pole on one of those wings. But Neufeld was such a strong player for the Terps, and what a huge addition to the Pioneers this season.
They've dropped him down from long pole to close defense this year.
Yeah, and Coach Tierney kind of explained that, like, well, you know, most teams kind of go 4 up top, so there's not that much difference. As you can see there, he was playing the wing anyway, so it's so much matchup driven now, as opposed to the classic, you know, crease defenseman that has to play the crease. You know, that approach.
They've made that move recently with the season-ending injury to one of their better defensemen, Dylan Johnson. Quint, you're down on the sideline. What can you tell from Bill Tierney's body language so far?
Well, I thought he was extremely emotional from the first moment he got off the bus today. And now that this game is settled in, I think he's probably a lot more comfortable after his team's slow start. Biggest questions that I'm seeing so far, Anish, what's Princeton's slide mentality on defense? Because Ryan and I have watched a lot of tape on them, and they look different from week to week, whether it's no help or a lot of help. So which Tiger defense, what strategy do they employ today? I think that's the critical element here.
Princeton gave up 34 goals the last 2 weeks to Penn and Yale. Here comes Jackson, full head of steam, a rocket off the crossbar. That resets the shot clock, ball loose near midfield. And Song comes up with it for Princeton, then has it knocked loose. Back to Denver. Colin Squires scoops it up, running through traffic. It's like Route 1.
I think I'll take that over Route 1.
That was a nasty scrum from field level, Anish. Those guys were going at it. I give Squires, 39 in black, a lot of credit.
Austin French gives Denver the lead. We are off to a frenetic start here at Class of 1952 Stadium.
Getting yourself organized after transition is so critical. Here you can see French with the short stick matchup. He quickly identifies it and attacks immediately. Princeton, meanwhile, caught napping behind the play. No slide ready. Quint, you touched on it, but you've got to have a slide ready for French there, right?
Yeah, that's that moment, Ryan, when a team gets the ball on offense, the defense takes a deep breath. Okay, where are my matchups? It's the assumption that they're going to settle, and Walker capitalizes on that defensive assumption.
Especially since he's covered by George Vaughn today, any sort of opportunities with matchups, he's going to go at immediately.
Vaughn, one of the best defenders in the Ivy. No one saw the pop off the faceoff, picked up by Andrew Song. Feeding the wing, McCarthy's shot. That one rockets off the pipe. We're seeing the offense, Quint, being generated off of faceoff so far. Denver able to get it across the midline. Making his third career start, Eric Peters in goal for Princeton, the sophomore out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. John Levine began the year in goal, then was pulled, and then got hurt. Peters has been the guy since the Penn game.
High arc, wide stance, minimal mover. It's a scouting report on Peters.
So Ryan, how do you attack a goalie with that scouting report?
Yeah, usually it's kind of one pump to get him off that line, take an extra step to get past that arc, and then they'll show a lot of cage.
This Denver offense relies on ball movement.
You can help to this!
Alex Simmons, good-looking freshman, moving down the alley. Loose ball in front. Who wants it? Out of the scramble, it's Princeton.
Look up! Advance the ball, Mondo. Advance the ball. Let's go.
Quick 6 p.m. start time, kind of an odd time of day with the sun setting. Are there any sort of issues with that in terms of getting in players' eyes?
Not right now. It doesn't seem like it's coming actually behind the stand. So on a cross-field pass to the far side, that could be an issue, but not for these goaltenders.
Here we go, D! Right there, Gina.
Quint, there's a piece of equipment on the field. Did somebody lose a shoe? Or is that the head of the cross?
It's not mine. It looks like the head of a stick.
Yeah.
I'm high.
There's Cordray.
Nice.
Cordray had the first Princeton goal. Now Chris Brown, the sophomore who scored a goal in all 20 games of his career. That's a high bouncer from the freshman, Alexander Bordaro. Nassau County midfielder of the year a season ago on Long Island.
And you can see the immediate strategic adjustment by Denver there. Cordray went behind the cage. Not only did the short stick follow, but they had an early slide for him as well.
Here is Michael Sowers. Best offensive player in the game, has it poked away. Shot clock at 2, and that's going to be a violation. It's going to be Denver ball.
That was a great double team there by Ober, aggressively getting out on Sowers' hands. That's how you want to play a feeder. Get in their hands, try to disrupt their timing. The last thing you want to do is give them space.
Sowers known for his uncanny vision. Multiple points in every game of his career. Here's Jack Hanna, sophomore out of Ohio. He transformed his body in the offseason. Jackson's got a hammer over to Sullivan. Now Walker from the wing against a shorty. Walker, that's wide off the side of the goal. Didn't quite have the angle there, Ryan.
Yeah, you'd like to see them get a little bit better look there. I think Walker kind of bailed him out.
Looked like a double pull by the Princeton defense, leaving a shorty on Ethan Walker. And I agree with you, Ryan. I thought he got a little impatient. He could have worked for something better.
Something we'll see with Princeton, Ryan, a lot of two-way middies. Number 5, Charlie Durbin. It seems he rarely leaves the field.
Yeah, Pat March has a unique substitution pattern. They used this in the past, like Austin Sims, for example. It always seemed like he never left the field. So they do a good job as Durbin steps into one and Reddy's all over it. They've got to maximize their personnel.
Now the outlet. Here comes Kyle Smith. Passes it off and a shot to score. Ellis Geis. And it's 4 unanswered for Denver.
A stop on one end, you might as well call it a turnover. Reddy makes it the feed upfield, and Denver cashes in transition.
Old Spice College Lacrosse is brought to you by
Wong has the ball right through his legs. Andy Moe comes over, gets a stick on it, and has it for the Tigers. He sprints to the top of the box. Fast break opportunity for Moe. He's going to take a shot. Goal! 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 Goal!
The dynasty began in 1992. Bill Tierney's 5th season at Princeton took over in 1988, a program that had been stuck in the dark ages for 2 decades. Tierney gets there 2-13 that first season, but the fall of 1988 was when the class of 1992 arrived, and you see the steady ascent. 89, they improved to 6 wins. 1990 and 91, quarterfinal losses, and then the great breakthrough in 92.
And in Princeton folklore, the story was that T sat those guys down and said, in 4 years, you're going to win a national championship. And they all looked at him like, are you crazy? Like, are you nuts?
Jack Henry Vara off the draw, has it poked away. And before he got to Princeton, Quint, he recruited you to Johns Hopkins, where Tierney won a couple of championships.
Well, had you seen their team in 1988 when he took this program over, you would have said impossible, no way. They had really bottomed out. I remember we beat them. We shut them out in 1988. 2 years later, they beat us in the playoffs. So the ascent was quick, and then belief was a big factor in their playoff wins. Nobody gave them a chance in Philadelphia. I remember calling that game on the radio. It was a hot Saturday. They were playing North Carolina, the defending champs, in the semis. Scored a lot of goals, took care of business, and then went up against the power, Syracuse. And Andy Moe, Scott Bacigalupo, David Morrow, Scott Reinhart. They all had peak performances that day. It was a magical moment.
Tierney's background is unique in lacrosse in that he's not a lacrosse coach, he's a coach. And he was well-versed in other disciplines, in other sports growing up. And Ryan, speak to that. How did that help him become a great lacrosse coach?
Yeah, I think it's motivation, organization, logistics, all the things that people love to overlook, those little details. Okay, great, X's and O's, you think that's all there is to it. So much more in terms of roster construction, how to recruit, how to manage your alumni, right? You can just kind of go down all these checklists. And the irony is, like, the X's and O's, that's what Coach Metzbauer was fantastic at. That's what Coach Brown is and Coach Orson really managed. He does kind of everything else around the team and program.
That bird's eye view of the program. When he was an assistant at Hopkins in the late 80s, he was also the head soccer coach there and turned that soccer team around. Jackson whips one wide, 8 on the shot clock, and he told us on the phone part of the reason he got the Princeton job was because of his success as a soccer coach at Hopkins. Wrapping around X, that hits the pipe, that resets the shot clock. It looked like Princeton had it. The loose ball is vacuumed by the Tigers. Bardaro accelerating upfield, now puts on the brakes. Denver has scored 4 in a row, and a problem for Princeton this season. When a team gets on a little 2-0 or 3-0 run, it snowballs into an avalanche. It happened against Yale and Penn and Hopkins and Rutgers. Tigers in attack mode here, but it'll belong to Denver.
Not a great shot, but better than the Durbin take earlier, that high-to-high take, which Reddy caught. those shots that are caught and initiate fast breaks the other way are some of the worst turnovers in lacrosse. Andy Shea last week telling us he demands that his middies change level just for that reason, so fewer goalies make clean saves that lead to opponent transition.
So if you're a goalie and you know that, Quint, are you playing the scouting report, or if you do that, are they already in your head?
You can't play the scouting report. I mean, you know tendencies.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be with Simmons.
Second midfield on for Denver, Rutan, McCone, and the freshman Simmons.
I do know, Ryan, when I'm playing a Duke or a Andy Shea, a well-coached team, that the players will usually take the well-coached shot.
Simmons against Durbin. Missing wide. Race to the sideline, won by Denver. French will trigger it in, 26 to shoot.
Love to see Simmons take an extra step there. You can see just based off where the ball went out of bounds, just that sharp angle.
Here comes Walker. Ethan Walker, big left-handed shot. Defended aggressively by Song. Bond comes to help. Now it's French. Picked up by Bond. All Ivy League defender a season ago.
Yeah, that's a great hedge and recovery there by Bond.
Shot clock violation. Denver had no idea how much time they had.
You saw as Walker was trying to turn the corner there, French was outside the play. Easy free double there for Bond.
17 in white, much thicker and stronger in person than he is on tape. He's got really strong lower body, quads, calves, and excellent footwork.
He announced himself a season ago when he blanked Cornell's Jeff Teat. Michael Sowers has been quiet in this first quarter, no points. And there's Brown right on the doorstep. 21 straight games with a goal for Chris Brown. That's every game of his career.
You see the pump fake there by Peterson. I think that Denver kind of thought that he was actually going to shoot the ball. You saw them start creeping towards the end line. Great sneak there by Brown. Takes that extra pump fake to get ready off of his line before bearing it.
Well, the emotions of Bill Tierney's return, the way this game started, the electricity in this stadium, you have not had a moment to catch your breath.
And I thought Quint's interview, you could almost see Coach Tierney's emotions change when he got to the game, right? Was talking about the game. He's talking about the memories, starts getting a little choked up, and then he's like, well, we got a game. And it's just like, just a lens came over him of like, oh, that's right.
He was on with the Denver radio broadcast for an extended pregame show today, and we were told he and his wife Helen broke down and cried during the interview.
Luke, it's gonna be you.
Coach Madelon might be upset that the referees are also celebrating Coach Tierney's return. He's begging them for some moving pick calls.
Might be tough to get a flag on Tierney tonight.
Stay on him. Shut him.
Here comes Jack Hanna against the short stick. Hanna with a bouncer. That's turned away. That will reset the shot clock. Who wins the race to the end line? And it's Bond.
Yeah, all I've heard about is the gentler, kinder Coach T, and then the first time the referee made a bad call on that end, he was all over them. So we shall see if that's really the case. Tremendous effort, though, by Bond, and again, demonstrating that athleticism, anticipation on that run out.
I'm confident Princeton can score. I love the way this offense operates when they're passing the ball. Sowers is an absolute superstar. The question mark is defense, and they've made some stops now. They're looking better, the guys in white, a little more organized, a little tighter on the interior, covering their matchups. It's a big sign for Princeton. They really haven't played much D this year.
Here is Sowers where he's at his best. Attacking from X against Squires. Sowers, great change of direction. Oh, broke his ankles and then missing wide. That was an almost got him.
Yeah, that's all Swedish, no finish.
That's right.
I got some ankle tape down here for Mr. Squires.
Sowers on the quick stick attempt. Robertson couldn't catch it clean, and the first quarter comes to an end. Princeton scored the first two goals in a span of 10 seconds. Denver then answered with 4 unanswered before Brown from Pedersen for the final tally of that opening quarter. Fast-paced, exciting, electric. Bill Tierney back in the house facing Princeton for the first time since leaving for Denver a decade ago. The NCAA Women's Championship continues Friday, 7 and 9 Eastern, Sweet 16 matchup. UCLA, UConn, and Albany, then Oregon State and Louisville, all games streaming on the ESPN app. Michael Sowers, so close to his SportsCenter top 10.
Everything but the finish. I mean, you try keeping up with this footwork. You know, gotta love the scout team guy that's supposed to simulate that in practice. If you haven't seen Michael Sowers play before, you are in for a treat because those are regular occurrences. He is just so quick with his footwork.
The ability to tie multiple moves there, a split to a roll to a fake finalizer, all done at full speed with changes of directions. He is a handful.
For his career, he averages 5.86 points per game. And I get into those 2 decimal points because that is good for 6th all-time in NCAA Division I history. The 5 guys ahead of him all played about a generation ago.
Yeah, he is a stats sheet stuffer.
But as you know, Ryan, Sowers is a phenomenal singular talent. But at Princeton, to be considered in that pantheon, you got to win.
Yeah, kind of unfair treatment. That's just how the program operates. A similar fate for Tom Schreiber to a degree, who really maybe didn't get the vindication he deserved until he moved on professional ranks and became the best player in the world. Winning not only MLL but World Championships.
Here is Bo Pedersen. He's got an assist so far. 19 in black, one of the best two-way middies in the country, Danny Logan. Now Brown trying to get that left hand free. Good defense by Denver and Greenlee. Bios come up with the loose ball. Neufeld will push. Over to Kyle Smith, good-looking young midi. Back up top, step down shot, no good. We told you about the two-way ability of 19, Danny Logan. Now French against Vaughn. French, the consummate quarterback, missed the first 4 games with an injury. That included a loss to Duke, a 1-goal loss. Joey Manown, the game winner for the Blue Devils. The final seconds. There's Colton Jackson shooting on the run, and Jackson beats his old high school teammate Eric Peters.
Colton Jackson right through the middle of the field. You get to the middle of the field offensively, good things happen. I love that little fake and look back to freeze the Princeton defense. You'll see it here again. That little move absolutely freezes Princeton defensively, creates that separation, and from there changes levels high to low. And you know he knows where to shoot on his old buddy.
Yeah, he has that scouting report.
About a fine young man, as you'll see in college lacrosse. 3'9" student, super nice kid.
Chance here for the Tigers. Stevens, Brown, good recovery by Denver. Here's Sowers, has his man hung up at X, and he is lethal in these situations.
If I'm Denver, I'm running back a second pole right now. Princeton's subbing. Let's just sniff this out.
Sowers inside roll, and he scores. Officials will confer the goal is good, and Michael Sowers now 2 points away from 5th all-time at Princeton.
Missed opportunity by Denver. You see all the players in front of the cage. Princeton was substituting. They could have just flushed that out. Sowers takes advantage with the inside roll, and Quint, you tell me, is he diving towards the goal mouth, and does he make contact with Reddy? The answer appears to be yes to both of those, and yet it's still called a goal we're still working through this whole what's a dive, what's not a dive, what do we call? Because the repercussion would be actually no goal and a penalty.
Right, so the easiest way to understand the new dive rule, you have to dive away from the mouth of the goal if you're going to dive in the crease. If you dive toward the goal mouth, automatic minimum 1 minute penalty, and then the officials can deem whether that's releasable or non-releasable. And if you dive away from the goal mouth, the ball has to go in before you make contact with the crease, the goalie, or the goal.
That Sowers goal was a carbon copy of a goal. Same end, same right side against Virginia. Did the same thing against Cade Saustad. I mean, he's just so quick in the phone booth. His ability to plant and roll, and protect his stick.
Hannah with a nice move, now double teamed. Quint, if you're a goalie, sometimes we'll see the goalie step out of the cage when a player is hung up. Would you do that against Sowers?
Yeah, but you better be decisive. And you know, you got to stay low because he's coming at you pretty low. The call that I'm not seeing being made this year is the goalie interference call, because occasionally I'm seeing contact in the cylinder, and it's if the officials are kind of ignoring it.
Low to high riser by Jack Hanna. He underwent a Kafka-esque metamorphosis in the offseason. Wasn't really much of a factor last year. Only played in 3 games. Added 20 pounds of muscle. Bill Tierney calls him a man-child. An Ohio kid who plays a little like a Canadian.
You can see that. He just stops on a dime, creates a little bit of separation, and then low to high, let it fly.
That's his spot. He's one of Clark's penny stocks.
The issue for Hanna this year has been shooting. He's got 47 shots. He had only connected on 5 prior to that. If he can up that shooting percentage, increase his accuracy, he's going to be dangerous because he's good enough to get a lot of looks.
Well, and Matt Brown, their offensive coordinator, Ryan, you can talk about this, how they put him in that optimal wing spot. You know, French or somebody's at X, and you've got threats. You know, Colton Jackson's drawing the pole, and he's kind of left out there on the wing. He's got all sorts of space and opportunity.
Yeah, and I love that quick little move that he's got, that change of direction. He doesn't run into a slide, right? He creates that little separation and takes the shot. Really, how do you slide to that if you're a defense, right? It's not like he's blowing past his man.
No, it's a step back.
Sowers can blow past his man. Oh, he had a great feed that time for Robertson. And Princeton has the backup with Cordray.
Better cover 11. Yeah, you better cover 11 when Sowers has the ball.
Yeah, the anticipation there was beautiful. He threw that pass before the cut had even been made. He threw it to space.
Squires having a tough time staying with Sowers. Sowers draws the slide looking for Robertson. Number 11 in white, Philip Robertson, led the nation in shooting percentage last year, slowed by an injury early this year. Off the turnover, Princeton with a chance unsettled. And Denver gets back into the Tigers' reset. Durbin swings it to Sowers, always looking.
Ball kind of died in Durbin's stick there. I think if he moved that along, Princeton had Denver kind of scrambling in transition. He's got the skip.
And that's a turnover by Princeton. 5 now for the Tigers.
Yeah, you can see Brown there. He kind of made up his mind of what he was going to do before catching the ball.
Now, Ryan, you played with excellent vision, and you were one of the great feeders at Princeton. What frustrated you sometimes when you knew you made the right pass and the guy wasn't in the right spot or wasn't paying attention?
You just got to go right back to the well. I mean, you got to trust your guys. If that's going to dictate, how you think, then you're not really a feeder. You're not really a quarterback. You're not really a distributor. It's all about making your teammates better and thereby making your offense more dangerous.
How about George Bond all over Austin French? Knocks it to the turf. We're going to get a whistle. Denver had possession, and Bill Tierney calls a timeout.
George Bond is a handful, huh?
A takeaway by Bond. Denver gets it.
Smith with a side to watch out in front for the win. Championship, Princeton 96.
Princeton, the team of the 90s, and that 96 championship, the first of 3 straight. And you look at this Princeton lacrosse program, it was not even a player on the national stage before Bill Tierney got there. 22 seasons with Tierney, 14 Ivy League titles, 6 national championships, and frankly, they have lost national relevance since he departed for Denver. It's been 7 years since Princeton last played in the NCAA tournament. They do not have an NCAA tournament win since Tierney left. And Ryan Boyle was on the last championship weekend team.
I mean, you just look at the records and just the irony of one team being 5-2 and the other one being a mere copy at 2-5.
Is that irony or coincidence? Defer to Alanis Morissette on that one.
I wouldn't call her necessarily an expert, but I digress. That's those crossfield passes. I think the sun might have had a factor in that turnover.
Now, Quint, you've got a better view of the sun field.
Yeah, far side looking back towards you guys can be an issue, especially towards that low left corner.
Good gains.
Here comes Brown, teed up by Greenlee.
I'm inside.
Bordaro through the slide, in traffic. That's going to be a flag on Gaines. That is stick completely wrapped around the head of Bordaro.
Technical foul, 41 black. Hold, 30 seconds. 41 black. Hold, 30.
Yeah, pretty clear holding penalty. You know, this is where you cue up every defenseman and defensive coach saying, you know, stick technology. The fact that he can run through, 4 or 5 guys there, probably the banner clip in terms of trying to get, certain restrictions on sticks and pockets and whatnot.
Princeton only 27% with the extra man this season. Atkinson over to Brown. They'll play it to Cordray on the wing, now back to Sowers. Sowers feeding inside, and Robertson can't finish. Boy, what a potent combination that was in 2018. And Robertson still rounding into form after missing time early in the year with an injury.
Playing Sowers straight up, no shutoff.
Atkinson gets destroyed by Logan. No flag.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. This is a juice play for Denver's bench and for their defense.
Sowers to Robertson on the doorstep. He misses. That's a shot. It will stay with Princeton. We're back to even strength.
Go on.
Sowers against Squires. Sowers gets free, falling down, top shelf. And there's no defense for that.
What an individual effort. I mean, this shot is absolutely ridiculous. Falling to the ground, low to high. The individual effort, you see the quick little change of direction, the roll dodge. He gets to 5-5. Diving upfield away from the goal, still has the strength to yank that back up top. I'm not sure what more you can do defensively.
You got to go, I guess. They cleared out really well. They all, faded away to the weak side of the field. How about this season, though, with these great attackmen, Grant Ament, the Pat Spencers, the Michael Sowers? We are being treated to just ridiculous stuff on a weekly basis.
Jeff Teat. Here come the Tigers. Luke Anderson. Brown looking for the equalizer, diving into the crease. A flag is thrown. Does the goal count? The referees will confer. The goal is good. A couple of tough calls today for the trio of Doug Donovan, Thomas Holland, J.P. Bennett. Brown second. And this is a good sign for Princeton, Ryan. Denver scored 4 in a row. They were able to answer the bell and get off the canvas.
Yeah, that's been their issue in previous games. 7-1 runs, 12-1 runs. So you got that feeling when Denver went on that 4-goal run. It was kind of like, oh, here we go again. Princeton off of the faceoff is uber aggressive, getting to the cage, trying to get a shot off before the defense sets up.
And as good as Brett Bose has been for Denver at the faceoff X, he's stepping into dinosaur footprints left behind by Trevor Baptiste. Greatest faceoff man of all time, graduated after last year, a 4-time first-team All-American. Bose is having a decent freshman season, but the possession advantage isn't as lopsided anymore for Denver.
Numbers here.
Bond to Brown, and a save by Reddy, who's there, a 4-year starter in goal.
Telegraph City on that shot. Body language, hands, shoulders, head, drops.
And he faded behind the cage.
And fading with that right foot, taking step towards goal line extended. And Alex Reddy's much better low than he is high. That's just fundamental finish there. Plant with the right leg and come back towards the middle.
Here comes Walker now, bouncing off a defender. That's Andrew Song, 32 in white.
Good read there by George Bond. Denver did a reverse rotation, so they came up from Brown because they don't want to leave Sowers at the point.
Oh, even before that, Ryan, I love the way he broke from the defensive end.
Yeah.
And became the fast break man, kind of like a trailer type break.
Sullivan down the alley. That one's turned away by Peters. Princeton rewarded for the hustle, Andrew Song. And the Tigers now with 6:12 to go in this second quarter, a chance to take the lead back. Princeton led 2-0. Denver scored 4 straight. Tigers have responded with a 4-2 run. A couple of goals by Brown and 2 by Sowers. Here's Brown. Had it go off his stick. A turnover by the Tigers. And that is number 6. For two teams that have never played before, you don't get the sense these two are meeting for the first time. There's some juice on the field. There's been some physicality.
The refs have let him play to a large degree. I think it's been clean despite all the checks and hits. So give them some credit for letting the athletes really run the show here.
Here comes Jack Hanna. Now Sullivan. Plays it to French. Bond's done a nice job on him. Hanna will attack this shorty. Ethan Walker from his sweet spot. And Denver back on top.
Love the patience by Hanna on this dodge. He hunts for his own shot and then just probes the Princeton defense. You'll see him sweep all the way across the field here. Probing, probing, probing. He catches Princeton napping. You can't leave Walker alone, especially on that left wing. Quint, that is his sweet spot.
Yeah, you know, the initial dodge right-handed across the face of the defense sucks all those defenders on the far side into the second slide or the help position. And so it leaves Walker with all sorts of real estate. Little east-west look from offensive coordinator Matt Brown.
Walker, Big East Player of the Year last year, coming off back-to-back 70-point seasons. Only other player to do that in Pioneers history. Here comes Jake Stevens.
So defensively on that play, as a defender, you do have to slough because you are the second slide. You're going to help out inside. But as soon as Hannock starts coming, you have to remain relative to him and remain relative to Walker, and you have to peel out of the middle and get a better approach out on 57.
That you got to know your personnel. I mean, the guy inside, sure, you want to cover up, but the last guy I want to leave open is Walker.
Especially from that right wing. A natural angle there for a lefty. Got the G League playoffs coming up on ESPNU tonight. Colton Jackson, he's got a hammer with both hands. Walker against Song. against the short stick. Low shot. And French there for the backup. I guess that will reset the shot clock. 20 shots for both teams. It's Denver with a 1-goal lead. Bill Tierney returning to Princeton. Pioneers head coach. A decade now with Denver after 22 seasons at Princeton. First time he's playing the Tigers as Denver's head coach. Sullivan looking for Jackson. Plenty of time to shoot. Hannah down the alley. Poked away by Durbin. Hannah recovers. Now Sullivan against Striv Walker, the senior captain for Princeton, 41 in white. That matchup again. Sullivan moves the defense. They'll play it back to Walker. Lowering that shoulder against Song. Here comes Walker, left hand free, not much on it. French has the backup 22 to shoot. Geis withstood the contact. Shot clock winding down. Back to French. And it's going to be Princeton ball.
Great possession there defensively by Princeton. The full shot clock after a reset. That is really hard defensively to stand in for that long.
Tigers only 2-5 on the season, but they've been in most of their games. Against Penn and Yale, they had leads in the second half. Here they tie it up, 7-all. 1:53 to go. That's Cordray.
You could see Cordray carrying, very slow, methodical, kind of catches Logan off guard as he's trotting towards goal line extended. And an ill-advised wrap check there. If I'm Logan, he's going behind the cage, just let him go. I try to sneak in that wrap. I actually encourage the roll dodge back upfield. A breakdown defensively, and Cordray makes him pay. But Anish, to your point, if this is your first time seeing Princeton, when they're at their best, especially offensively, they can hang with anybody. It's just these lapses that they give up, and then, 1 goal, 2 goal, and then boom, it's like 7 goals.
Against Johns Hopkins, Princeton led by 2 in the third quarter. Hopkins went on a 7-1 run. Rutgers broke open a 2-2 game with a 7-1 run. Princeton led Penn 7-6. Quakers went on a 12-1 run. Hannah. That one is wide. And then last week against Yale, final score 15-10. Princeton led that game in the second half.
It's just a matter of playing a full 60.
Timeout by Princeton, tied at 7, 1:28 to go in the first half. Coming up at the half, we'll look back at the top plays from the week that was, and then spin it forward to some of this weekend's big games. This is the last weekend of March, and then it starts to get real.
And looking at these two teams specifically, Princeton, while this is a huge game in terms of Tierney's return, realistically, they're going to have to win the Ivy League tournament to get that AQ. Meanwhile, Denver, that win over Towson, depending on when Ohio State gets rescheduled, they've got kind of 2 roads or 2 paths to the tournament.
Now, the Towson win certainly helped Denver. Remember, the Pioneers lost in the Big East tournament 3 years in a row. You lose to Towson, the at-large is probably out of question because there's no real big win left on your schedule. So getting that Towson win was big. It maybe gives Denver the safety net of the at-large. And for Princeton, we talk about getting back to the NCAA tournament, needing to probably win the Ivy League tournament. Let's start with getting into the Ivy League tournament, which Princeton did not do a season ago.
No, and certainly the Brown game this weekend, I think, is really going to be a tail of the tape for both of those squads in terms of punching their ticket.
Princeton still has Dartmouth, Harvard, Cornell. Cornell right now is 0-2 in the Ivy.
They went on a run to end the year last year, but lost the tiebreaker and got left out of the Ivy League tournament, which this year returns to New York City and Columbia first weekend in May.
And that's what's been so disappointing about Princeton's start. They won 5 straight to finish last year, so everybody looked at this team. Michael Sowers is now a junior. George Bond is now a sophomore. You ended with a lot of momentum. Now it's time to build on that, and the reality is these collapses have changed the entire tenor of the season.
Yeah, the last 5 games, as you said, coming into this season, it's like great media narrative. They didn't really kind of hold up their end of the bargain.
And now Denver calls the timeout. Gamesmanship by Bill Tierney. Yeah, we were talking about
like he's trolling the fan base.
He just wants a little more TV time. Yeah, Princeton has not been able to combat the Avalanches against Hopkins, Rutgers, Penn, and Yale. Big runs. And again, a positive sign in this game. Denver had a 4-0 run, but they did not allow it to turn into one of these runs that breaks open the game and essentially ends the game.
I was going to just say, run breakers, how do you react to adversity as a team, okay? What kind of leadership do you have amongst the group? And again, I'm not talking about coaches' leadership. I'm talking about player leadership. A great Fogo is a run breaker. A great goalie can be a run breaker as well. A smart offensive possession in this era of the shot clock. You kill at 80, you temper an opponent's run. So managing shot selection, face-offs, and goaltending, I think, are critical when your defense is struggling.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and beyond that, this is where you expect a Sowers in the middle of that run to recognize, I'm not waiting to the end of the game. The end of the game is right now. I have to score. I have to put this team on my back in this moment. And I think that's part of the challenge in terms of maturation, becoming a leader. He's a junior captain. In the middle of that 7-1 run, that's where you've got to put a stop to it. 3 goals, like, okay, run our offense, or am I the offense?
Q, what has the communication been like defensively for Princeton today?
It's been better today. That was a super aggressive strategy off that timeout, though. They put Bond on Walker and press out all over the field. So they're aggressive at 7-7 with a minute to go. But it's been better. Their slide execution has been better than we've seen on tape. But again, they're still on pace to give up 14 or 15 goals.
Right.
Denver only gives up about 8 a game. Princeton, though, already has 7. One of the best offenses against the best scoring defense in the country. About a 7-second differential between game clock and shot clock, so Denver will have to shoot before the shot clock expires. Can't just hold for one. Hannah, goal line extended. Colton Jackson now. Denver taking its time.
Princeton pressing out, making it difficult.
Yeah, with both their short sticks, they're double short stick shut here.
Shot clock at 3. They got to go. That one hits the crossbar. It'll reset the shot clock, but there's only 5 seconds to go. Hannah able to track it down, whips one on goal. Peters turns it away. And we go to halftime at a stalemate. Denver and Princeton all knotted up at 7.
Hairy end of the half there for Princeton. A couple unnecessary slides, and then even that last shot on Cage, you'd like to see Peters be a little bit smoother with it.
Michael Sowers, a couple of goals for Princeton. Cordray and Brown also chipped in with the pair. Down to the field, Q, with Coach Tierney.
Coach, when was this able to become a game, and were you able to get over, the pregame and all the talk about you coming back to Princeton?
When they scored that first goal in about 6 seconds, that was it.
What was your reaction then?
All we wanted to do, all we talked about was getting off to a good start. It's 2-0, and it hasn't hit 14 minutes yet. So, now it's a game.
What can win this game in the second half?
We've got to do a better job covering their attack. They're doing a great job. They're very quick, and we haven't seen anybody like that in a while. Got to shoot a little bit better. We're getting ours, they're getting theirs. It's going to come down to the end.
Can you limit Michael Sowers? That's the question. Thanks, Coach.
That is the question. Bill Tierney, 399 career wins, going for 400. First game back at Princeton since leaving for Denver. We're tied at 7 at the half. Top 5 plays of the week coming up. New sound effect machine, though. You're watching Old Spice College Lacrosse. Princeton and Denver, first meeting all time between these schools. And we are tied at 7. Anish Shroff, Ryan Boyle, Quint Kesnick with you. Bill Tierney is back in town, his old haunting grounds. Tierney spent 22 seasons as Princeton's head coach, his first game back since leaving for Denver a decade ago. He's also going for career win number 400. He told us he was worried about Michael Sowers. He reminded Bill Tierney of you and Kevin Lowe and the Michael Powells of the world. He said he wanted to make Sowers a scorer. Well, Sowers is also a pretty good scorer.
Yeah, for all the people that say, hey, don't slide to him, don't make him a feeder, these are the repercussions here. You see the jitterbug get free, everything but the finish. Here he now with 2 goals, the inside roll, and then this absurd diving, low to high, changing planes. The kid can do it all.
For Denver, 7 goals by 7 different players.
Yeah, Neufeld in transition. We were wondering, Anish, kind of before the game, what type of style we were going to see. It seems stylistically this was a little bit more of a Princeton game, up and down. Denver is glad to take that type of pace as long as they can cash in, as they did numerous times in transition.
Pioneers had some goals off of turnovers, face-offs won. Ethan Walker from his sweet spot. Again, 7 different players scored for Denver. For Princeton, Sowers had 2, Brown a couple, and Cordray a pair as well. Sowers now 1 point away from moving into a tie for 5th place all time. Quint, you spoke to Matt Madelon. What did he tell you?
2 key things. Turnovers, couple wasted possessions and wasted opportunities. And then defensively, he said he just wants his guys to read their slide responsibilities better, to make those decisions, which are so tough as a defender when you're that off-ball guy and you have a slide responsibility, when to go, when not to go.
This game playing out in the first half, a lot like Princeton's last few games. They're in the game, second quarter, third quarter, but it's in the second half where things have started to get away from the Tigers the last few weeks. Luke Anderson with the ground ball off the wing, and now here is Sowers. It's been a tough matchup for Colin Squires, but Sowers without an assist today. Sowers, as a freshman, set the school record for points, then broke that mark last year as a sophomore. Cordray, 16 points in the 2 Princeton wins this season. Now it's Durbin. Over to Atkinson.
It's lofty praise from Coach Tierney towards Sowers when I spoke to him prior to halftime. This kid's something else right here, 22.
Here he comes. Out to pick at X. Now Sowers has the shorty Logan.
Better find 11 in the slot area.
That's Philip Robertson, one of the best finishers. He has Denver's attention. Here's Sowers working on Logan. Changing directions. Now the double comes. Cordray up top. Durbin, a rocket. Reddy knocks it down and clamps.
Great ball movement there by Princeton. Good defensive effort by Denver, helping and recovering. Princeton does a good of a job in terms of clearing that ball side wing to give their Dodgers space. You saw it right there. Durbin drifted upfield, got in that passing lane for Cordray.
Denver turns it over on the clear. And Princeton about to give it right back. Q, when you're playing goalie and Sowers is dancing at X, what goes through your mind?
Well, it's unlike Jeff Teat. Sowers can beat his man and score quickly at the goal line extended. So you have to play him as both a feeder. You're thinking turn, locate the ball, and react. And you also have to crash the pipe that he drives on and get there with balance because he's a threat. I'm just in person. I got to tell you, his quickness, his change of direction is as good as I've seen this year, if not in the past decade. I mean, he really reminds me of a Mikey Powell.
And what makes him so dangerous is because of that quickness, he's typically able to beat his man top side. So therefore, any slide that comes directly to his face, so he can easily read and react accordingly.
And it happens so fast.
Walker, French, a grounder. And there for the backup, Ellis Geis.
Like that earlier move, it looked like he was going to press the goal left-handed. He cuts it and splits it to the right. I mean, you have two different defenders who have responsibilities on each side of the goal.
There's Sullivan down the alley, left hand. Peters made the save, couldn't find it. It was right in front of him. And Denver stepped in the crease. It will be Princeton ball. Pios have missed their last 9 shots.
Coach Tierney counseling Teddy Sullivan, says you shot that exactly where you were looking. You ever hear that, Ryan?
Maybe once or twice. That and directly at his feet, which is also a big no-no.
It's an easy stop, a tomahawk chop, and he's...
Vardaro, Cordray, and a big save by Reddy.
Alex Reddy can win this game for Denver. He's the goalie here today with the experience. The lefty played in some huge games. He's had his moments of brilliance this season, and other than the Duke game, he's had a very strong year.
I thought that was his best save of the day as well. That was impressive inside. Offside hit.
4 minutes gone by in this third quarter. Neither team has scored since halftime. Quinn McCone now, senior from California. Over to Austin French, another Californian. Still time to shoot. Here's Rutan.
If I'm Princeton, every time French has got the ball, I'm pressing out adjacent and letting Bond go to work.
Now that time, Bond's defense forced French into a bad pass. It's a turnover, and here come the Tigers.
They've got a trailer.
Princeton's bench bringing great energy, enthusiasm. They've been vocal all day.
Now Sowers behind the crease. Changing direction on Squires. Penalty coming on Squires. Sowers like a jitterbug. To Robertson. Oh, and that one just off. You play with Michael Sowers, you're going to eat. Man up opportunity for Princeton. The Tigers have not led since it was 2-0.
If I was in charge of the facilities here, I'd be tying these nets up as tight as possible for opposing defenders to have to go back and forth at X. Slashing call against Squires.
You'll see Reddy anticipate this low. You've got to throw that one fake to get him off his line.
Atkinson off the crossbar.
Reddy's super light on his feet. His best save is when he goes down to the offside low, believe it or not. He's the type of guy that you pump, he'll go down and leave the upper portions open.
Reddy didn't begin playing goalie until high school. Lost his job at one point last year to Josh Matt. Atkinson! And the uppercut. The Tigers on top 8-7.
A little three-man rotation here. You'll see the carry. This forces Denver to have to change the assignment in terms of on ball. Atkinson finds that little soft spot and just settles in. Beautiful awareness by him to read the soft spot in the zone. Don't overreact, don't overcut, just stop and present a target. Great read there by the Princeton man-up group.
Ryan, it always amazes me how those attackmen can catch the ball, turn, and in one motion put a shot in a corner. How do you do that with your back to the goal?
Repetition. You just got to practice that shot. This is where you always want to practice the shots you're going to take in game from that exact spot. You need to have a couple different a bevy of shot options.
Logan on the run, ties it for Denver. That's what was working so well early for the Pioneers.
Yeah, not known necessarily for their transition, but Princeton's going to give you those opportunities, and Denver will gladly take them. You'll see Logan brush off a couple Princeton defensemen. Nobody's going to step up and play me. I'm going to let it rip. But Quinn, back to your point, it's all a matter of just practicing that turn and shot all in one motion. Like anything else in life, there's no secret sauce. You just got to practice it.
Logan, an All-American caliber midfielder. Ask Bill Tierney, and he'd be hard-pressed to find you a better two-way midi in college lacrosse. Bose, who's taken pretty much every face-off for Denver this season, had it momentarily. Smith couldn't corral the ground ball, and now it's scooped up by Stevens. 14 in white, Ryan. We were talking about this at halftime. He's going to be a really good one.
Yeah, he's definitely a little Courier-esque, and it's an obvious comparison given the background. But 8 ground balls off that wing position, he's kind of the do-it-all guy. He's made some really nice anticipation plays within the face-off X. He is a game changer there.
Had a couple of goals against Penn, and he and Zach Courier attended the same high school, Culver Military Academy. Sowers losing Squires. That pass is dropped. Pedersen. Vardaro gets it back, plays catch with Pedersen.
Good on-ball defense there by Smith.
There comes Brown. Rather McCarthy. Sowers. Sowers on the doorstep. That one turned away. Plucked out of the air by Denver and Kyle Smith. Brown fell down. Smith bumping into Pedersen.
Even Smith's got a little bit of a Princeton connection. Played for Chip Buzzio, captain of the 2001 National Championship team at New Canaan. So even the Denver roster connections, if you will, have a little Tiger smear to them, or Tiger blood.
Sullivan over to Hannah. Now Geis, 6'4" freshman, has that Mark Matthews build to him. There's Walker over to Jackson. First midfield on for Denver. Hannah from the wing. Gets the step, separation. Wow. Yeah, he can get his shot. Once it's consistent, he's going to be unstoppable.
And that move is so deadly because he just kind of jumps to the side, like a side cut. And therefore, defensively, you're not really sliding to him because he hasn't, pierced the teeth of the defense. And he gets that off so quickly.
Jump cut like a running back.
Yeah.
Tough time of night right now. Twilight. The lights haven't fully taken effect.
Good defense by Bond all over Hannah. And Princeton comes away with it. That was led by George Bond. He's had a terrific game on the back end for the Tigers.
I mean, when his man gets the ball, shut the adjacents and let him go to work.
Quint, for a 2-5 team, they've got pieces.
Yes, and I love their spirit. And watching 17 in white, man, it's David Morrow Jr. right there. He's fierce. He loves to come out and play the ball on the perimeter. He wants, he's got that mentality that he's going to win every matchup. Love his aggressiveness, good low stance, excellent posture, and an active stick.
Ordre looking for his third, as is Brown.
Oh boy.
And then Brown airmails Durbin. And that's an unforced error. Matt Madelon talked to us about this. Where do the games go south for Princeton? He says a lot of it self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, that's their 9th turnover.
Oh, that one dropped by Smith. Here comes Sowers. This is dangerous. Sowers gives Princeton the lead. The hat trick for 22. He's now tied for 5th all-time in points at Princeton University.
Maybe one of the easiest goals of his career. He's just gifted this turnover in transition, right down, buries it unready.
Old Spice College Lacrosse is brought to you by Old Spice. Men have skin too, you know.
This Friday,
Dumbo, Prince of the Elephants, fly with me.
a legend.
Let's put on a show.
Comes to life like never before. Rated PG. Get tickets now.
Bill Tierney returning to Princeton tonight as Denver is trailing the Tigers 9-8. We're joined by Ed Calkins, a member of the class of 1992. What was your first, when Coach Tierney was recruiting you, what was your first impression of Coach T?
That he was a very hungry guy, and he really wanted to turn the program around.
How was he able to transform things so quickly?
Well, there's a story that I like to tell a lot of people. It was my freshman year. Our freshman class was on campus for about a week, and he pulled us into a room and he told us, I'm going to play as many of you guys as I can, and by the time you're seniors, you're going to be competing for a national championship. And I always tell people we were just young enough and dumb enough to believe him, and it all played out the way he envisioned.
Decades later, what's the most significant impact he has had on your life?
You know, for me, and I think for everybody that's played for him, he's truly one of the most demanding people you could ever experience in your life. He just has a standard of excellence that he demands every single day. And I think as a 18 to 22-year-old kid playing for him, that's an important thing to be reminded of every day at practice. And I've taken that with me, and I know, my teammates have taken it with me, and everybody that's played for him has taken it with me.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Structure and discipline in each cornerstones of Tierney's success here. Structure and discipline.
Withholding, and it'll be Denver ball off the faceoff. Anish Shroff, Ryan Boyle, Quint Kesnick. Hello, Danny Logan, his second. And that one again off the faceoff, and we're tied at 9. That's twice Logan has done that in this quarter.
Hey, this is where you're seeing the negative of not having a pole on that unit. You're able to immediately attack because the Princeton has to substitute at least one of their guys off. So you have an immediate chance to go 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 with one less long pole out there. So I'm sure that Coach Brown saw that specifically and wanted to attack it. And when you've got a player like Logan with that skill set, you're seeing the benefits of that approach.
I don't mind two shorties on the wings when you're T.D. Erlin at Yale and you're winning 80%. But when you're a 50-50 team, I kind of recommend having a defender out there.
Yeah, Princeton sub 50% at the face-off X. They have not been above 50 since 2012. And that was the last time the Tigers were in the NCAA tournament.
It's not a pinch and pop, but it's about as close to that as you're going to get.
Denver wins the face-off here. This is Logan again.
Yeah, and they've got numbers here.
He fights through a double team. Plays it over to Neufeld.
That is a tremendous double by Bond to just blow up that play.
And if he doesn't, you're right, that's a goal. That's going to be a slam dunk for Denver.
They had French sneaking around the cage. Bond anticipated that, abandoned French, and was able to cause just enough havoc to delay that.
No team has led by more than 2 tonight.
Oh, that is a ticky-tack. That is a ticky-tack hold.
So Denver gets it back as we come up on 4 minutes to play. If the Pioneers win, Bill Tierney will join John Danowski as the only coach with 400 wins at the Division I level. Simmons, the freshman, turned away by Peters. It resets the shot clock. Rutan tracks it down, goal line extended.
Walker's got a matchup.
He's got a short stick. Now the Princeton defense has been aggressive, Song and Bond especially, and the Tigers rewarded here.
Yeah, that's a mental error there by Rutan, though. Walker had a short stick matchup. I don't know why they didn't get the ball to him quicker.
like this matchup against 2, McCone.
Cordray will attack McCone, not a D-midi. Cordray lost his man, had the pick, and now he'll give it to Sowers. Sowers against McCone. This is a mismatch, a huge mismatch. Sowers up top, shot, and it's wide by Pedersen, the freshman.
Princeton does a great job there, Ryan. The way they bring Sowers to the ball carrier, set a pick, they force a switch, they get their matchup.
And that's a good look, but I'd like to get more out of that. Sowers on a short stick, a 15 to 18 yard step down. I don't love that.
McCone is still out there for Denver. Cordray can't get that right hand free. He falls down. The flag is up. And Princeton, with 2:32 to go, will have an extra man opportunity.
I think that look says it all in terms of Coach Tierney's feelings towards this call.
Black, 2-1, hold, 30 seconds. Black,
30-second man up.
30 seconds.
I had a coach tell me last year, Tierney is worth at least 2 or 3 calls a game. Didn't get that one, though.
Yeah, it might have been a trip. It looked like their legs got tangled up.
Atkinson has some room. Princeton will try to work it inside. Now Sowers behind the cage. Out in front, slam dunk Brown. He's got the hat trick, a 4-point night for Sowers, and it's 10-9 Princeton.
Beautiful execution here. You're going to see a couple things in play on this carry. Watch to the right of your screen, this little slip pick by Brown. So the Denver defenseman is sprinting out to cover that shot on the outside. Brown just lets him go, does the old Olay, and then Sowers the look off. So he stares at that step down. That player on the perimeter manipulates the defense, gets that overreaction, and then the no look back inside. You can draw it up, but then you got to execute it, and well done by Princeton's man-up group.
Your rules defensively are inside out. Never leave a man on the inside without handing him off to a teammate.
Princeton with an 11-10 edge at the face-off X. We talked about it earlier. With Trevor Baptiste gone, that possession advantage no longer lopsided for the Pioneers. They've been solid this year, 52%, but not close to the domination that we saw in the past. Neufeld, French, tied at 10. Back and forth we go. Second goal of the game for French.
And this is just an area of the game that Princeton has got to clean up. No, I mean, forget the long pole, no long pole, right? You've got to have some sort of defensive protection. You can see both of the Princeton wings smashed up there at the X. The loose ball just trickles out, and Denver's got transition cooking. You've got to have both offensive and defensive protection there, or in terms of leverage.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about leverage, Ryan, and this is a point where coaches kind of differ. Do you want to get inside position on that ground ball scenario, or do you want to be on an outside position? Because Denver established outside position, and when the ball kicked out, they had a running head start in a 4-on-3 fast break.
Yeah, I prefer that outside possession. It always seems like that's the guy that comes up with it.
And Galchi came up with that one for Princeton. That could have been another goal off of a faceoff for Denver. 8 of the 10 Pioneer goals have come off of faceoff wins.
I mean, that is just absurd. I mean, to have that glaring of a breakdown in one area of the game, you've got to clean that up.
Someone has got to take a defensive posture.
Yes.
The two wingmen have to mirror each other as to not get caught lopsided on one side of the field or the other.
But why not, to Ryan's point, just put a pole out there, at least make Denver work a little on the 6-on-6 if they do get the ball off the faceoff.
Look, I'd put 17 up there, George Bond on every single faceoff for our head coach. And put Sowers on the other wing.
Princeton Holding the ball, about a 12-second differential between game clock and shot clock. Cordray probing from goal line extended against Boyd. Squires trying to deny Sowers, working a two-man game now. Sowers from X, 10 to shoot. Sowers spins Squires around. Sowers in front to Robertson. He makes it look too easy.
Are you kidding me? I mean, there's beating your defenseman, and then there's leaving him on the other side of the cage. I mean, look at this move. And as I alluded to earlier, because he beats his man so cleanly, every slide that comes to him comes directly at his face, and so it's super easy to read. You saw a case in point right there. Robertson with just the dunk, all you got to just be able to do is catch and throw, and you're sitting on, what, 20, 30 goal scorer? I mean, I'm having a little bit of fun here, but Roberts, great job presenting that stick, but holy cow, Sowers is just so lightning quick.
I just hope Lacrosse Twitter doesn't get upset. You know, that's not taunting. Just because he made his guy look silly.
Multiple split dodges in one move, like I've never seen before.
Michael Sowers putting on a show. It's Bill Tierney's return, but Sowers has been the star between the lines. He's got a hat trick. He's got 2 assists. He's got a couple of Sports Center top 10 worthy plays too. And Princeton looking to spoil the Legends homecoming. They've got an 11-10 lead. We go to the 4th. Dinesh Shroff, Quint Kasnick, Ryan Boyle, and Ryan, Michael Sowers, he's coming for you. He's coming for you.
I mean, with moves like this, nobody really stands a chance. Just the lightning quickness, and then the ability to keep your head up, identify where the defense is coming from. But, I mean, he combo moves together that you really just don't see very often, so it's really hard in terms of preparation. You know, how do you mimic that on the scout team?
You kind of feel for Colin Squires as you look at where Sowers stands. 4 Legends above him. He's going to be the all-time leading scorer in Princeton history. He's got another year left. Yeah, the hope is, you know, before he's done, Princeton can put a team around him that can get him into the NCAA tournament, let the rest of the lacrosse world, you know, get an up-close and personal look at Michael Sowers. As good of an offensive catalyst as there is in lacrosse right now. Tigers win the opening draw of the 4th quarter.
And one of the things that he does that's really rare is when he changes direction, he brings his stick in front of his body. And he's able to do that because of how clean those stick transfers are. So many guys have to do a roll dodge, which allows a defenseman a little bit more time to react. He is so quick. His center of gravity is so low to the ground, he's able to make those explosions, those change of speeds, and keep his stick in front, which is very rare.
There's Sowers against Squires. He's got space. Sowers changing direction. Squires trying to stay with him. Sowers right hand free. That one hits Reddy. He's out of the cage. Reddy hits the floor. And we're going to get a loose ball push on Princeton. And Denver gets it back. 9 saves now for Reddy, the senior.
Nice save off the throat protector. Princeton's bench didn't like the call. If I'm defending Sowers, though, Ryan, I may pick a side and really shade him instead of getting involved in his dance.
Yeah.
That you can't keep up with.
Yeah. That definitely was a strategy that people employed against Mike Powell. Just sit on one hand and actually force him upfield, and then you just slide adjacent, and then just hope and pray you can recover and rotate behind it.
Yeah, what Powell had, though, was Kaufman and Springer.
Yeah, but the hardest feed for a guy to make, like a Sowers or a Powell, kind of counterintuitively, is the pass directly in front of you. You always want to kind of look backside, look for skips. That adjacent pass is actually that takes the most discipline.
Bardaro pressing out on Jackson. Over to Sullivan. He was the hero against Towson last time. French, his pass knocked down, trickles to X. Shot clock coming up on 10. French turns and almost had it. It did hit the cage. It resets the shot clock. A new 80 for Denver. They'll go back to work. French was looking for his third. Equally adept with both hands. Now it's Sullivan. To Jackson. Jackson's shot is blocked. It ricochets near the bushes. Denver has the backup, 67 to shoot.
And I think French has made a wise adjustment, taking Bond inside, making him the slider, and trying to beat him off ball.
Jackson gets the step. Loads up off the crossbar again. 4 pipes in the game for Denver.
He can absolutely bring it, huh?
He gets that kind of time in a room, boy.
He scored from Duke from like 18, shooting 42% on the season. That'll drop tonight. He's got an outside 2-point range type shot.
No team has led by more than 2 tonight. Bill Tierney's return. Michael Sowers, his show.
Good job there by Squires, making it a little bit difficult to catch the ball.
Squires has got to be a little gassed, doesn't he? Chasing that guy around all day.
You know, I think it's just as much mental as physical in terms of trying to react to all these moves. Good help there by Smith.
Robertson against Smith. Durbin over to Brown, looking to get to that left hand. Instead, it rolls toward the sideline. Robertson able to retrieve. Shot clock in single digits. Princeton has to shoot or put it in a corner. That one is wide. It will reset the shot clock, but Denver has the backup with Squires. We come up on 10:45 to play in this fourth quarter. Princeton by a goal. Tigers have lost 3 in a row and 5 of 6 after winning the season opener against Monmouth. Aaron's pass by Hanna looking for French. Unsettled opportunity for Princeton. Sowers has it, feeds the wing. Atkinson had a good look, but off the mark. Now there's that sense of anticipation when the ball is in Sowers' cross. Quint brought up Mikey Powell. I was at Syracuse with Powell for 4 years. When he had the ball, you felt like something special would happen every time.
Sadly, being on the other side of that,
you were there.
You know, it often did.
Durbin. Princeton getting some good looks, just missing the cage.
Yeah, Reddy really come up with some huge saves here. Otherwise, Princeton opportunity to extend the lead. Quint, to your point earlier, he really has been the goalie of this game.
He has to be.
Robertson beating Reddy low. A 2-goal advantage for Princeton.
Robertson not really known for his dodging prowess. Here you can see him go up the left side. Just gets a shade above goal and extended. It seems like he kind of shot a little early before Reddy was, dare I say, ready for it.
Sitting on that one.
It just kind of happened. I'm sorry, Anish. Just kind of happened. But I would have liked to see Denver kind of shade down there or hedge on that dodge.
Here comes Logan. He's got 2 goals off of a face-off. Logan full head of steam. Feeding French. Shooting high. That has been the formula for Denver.
Yeah, and Geis was a little late there. It was a classic fast break. French had the one more pass down to Geis, who was kind of caught behind the cage for some reason.
Ellis Geis.
Is that sense on that call, Ryan? You were the point man. Are you listening for them, or are you reading that yourself?
A little bit of both. I mean, you're taught as that bottom right guy to call one more. It also just depends on your personality in terms of, are you kind of a classic shooter, or are you trying to draw somebody? And I didn't really have a lot of range, Quint, so I was certainly trying to act like I was a threat before distributing.
Here comes Jackson.
Great skip.
Skip pass. Walker, bang!
What a beautiful skip pass here. You'll see Jackson. He catches Princeton in kind of a half slide mode. So we talked about this in terms of organization, communication, bond. Do I go? Do I not go? He got kind of caught in no man's land. The second slide sucks in too deep without any pressure on Jackson's hands. Easy look. Great job by Walker finding that lane, presenting his stick, quick catch and finish.
And Ryan, Princeton now going with Andrew Song, a long pole on the far side on one of the face-off wings. And Bose wins this one to himself. Go figure. The best laid plans.
And I actually think Bose could have kept going there. He elected to pull it out. But he had a little sliver of a lane to go to the cage.
Really impressed with Colton Jackson drawing the pole this year for the most part. We know he's got outside range. That last pass, improving that he's a pro. It's a kid who last year played through a severe wrist injury that required off-season surgery.
Here comes Jackson. The goalie, Eric Peters, his old high school teammate, and Jackson whistles one way high, 40 to shoot. Geis will trigger.
He's got to be a party starter, 10 in black. This is a team that they just don't have flashy dodgers or guys who can draw doubles. 10 can.
And that's going to be over and back, but it comes to Princeton, so Brown has it. No whistle. Here comes Brown.
Missed opportunity there. He had multiple trailers, elected not to use any of them.
John Ober shadowing Cordray. Emmett Cordray more goals and assists this year than his previous 3 seasons combined.
Smart play there by Robertson. He's been getting a short stick. He goes and sets the pick, changes the matchup, and then gets back inside.
Now on the junior, Kyle Smith. Cordray. It comes to Brown. Lefty trying to get that left hand free. Now we'll take it back to the top of the box. 25 to shoot. Brown against Logan. Feeding inside, a shot to score. Bo Pedersen, the freshman, and Princeton back up by 2.
Let's go!
Tigers looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Let's see who had their skin in the game tonight, presented by Old Spice. Certainly, this means a lot for Bill Tierney. Michael Sowers, though, has been the story between the lines.
Yeah, and his ability to execute from behind the cage, from a shooting perspective, from a feeding perspective, he can really do it all. And then, obviously, if you just kind of airmail him a turnover right in transition, he can finish those as well. The beautiful no-look. He has really done everything tonight. This is probably the most impressive move. Leaving Squires on the other side of the cage before dumping it inside to Robertson, excuse me. It's really going to be a matter of, can they finish? They have been here before. Can they finish?
210 points now for Michael Sowers. 1 away from the great Jesse Hubbard for 4th all-time. He already passed Mike McDonald today. Denver off the face-off, Danny Logan. He's been dangerous here against Stevens. Put a pole on that wing. You make Denver work in that 6-on-6, and that's been a challenge for them. This is not a great offensive team that Bill Tierney has, and to Tierney's credit, he has adopted and evolved as well as anybody over his career. He's gotten back to more of an old-school defensive approach, reminiscent of his early years at Princeton with this Denver team.
Play to your personnel strengths, and he does exactly that, and this team is no different.
He's won a championship in the last 4 decades, including his time as an assistant at Hopkins. Sullivan. And that was a pass. Aria turnover.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Sullivan. You'd love to see him just kind of move that ball along and let the next guy be a feeder.
He's hearing it right now. It's not the pass. Plus, it was off the mark with execution.
14 turnovers now for Denver. 13 goals by Princeton, the most the Pioneers have given up this season. And a smart timeout by Madelon with Brown in trouble.
Yeah, Brown in transition is an adventure every single time. So great timeout there by Madelon, bailing out Brown before the turnover occurred.
If you're just joining us, no team is led by more than 2 goals. The big story here, the return of Bill Tierney. First time back as a head coach at Princeton since leaving for Denver a decade ago. This was the place where Tierney turned Princeton into the team of the 90s. 5 titles in the 90s and then the last one in 2001. Ryan Boyle, a freshman, had the game-winning assist in overtime against Syracuse.
And B.J. Prager. A lot of kids dream of scoring the winning goal, not really having the winning assist. But I'll take it, Anish.
Go back to your time with Coach Tierney. What was the one story, the one moment that will always stand out to you?
I remember one day we came out to practice, this old school turf, it was completely frozen over. So you're thinking as a 18, 19-year-old kid, like, oh, great, no practice. We really lucked out. Oh no, my friend. We're going to line up shoulder to shoulder on the end line and slowly but surely walk on the field and take our shoes, rub the ice off of the turf. We got to about the restraining box, kind of like Boy Scout style, just all in formation. Finish that, and then now we're going to practice on that area that we just cleaned up for ourselves. I'll never forget that one.
Q, you played at Hopkins when Tierney was an assistant coach. What was that experience like for you playing for Tierney when he was an assistant?
I remember in the national championship game, there was a moment when things started to unravel, and I walked over to the sideline, and he kind of put his arm on my shoulder and was like, everything's going to be okay. And he had the ability to connect, whether it's being fiery or at other times to put his arm around you and puff you up and make you feel great. So at that stage as an assistant, his ability to make the one-on-one connection, to bring out your best at a time of high stress.
He won 2 championships as an assistant at Hopkins, 7 as a head coach, 1 at Denver, 6 at Princeton. And he is to this sport what Krzyzewski is to college basketball, what Saban is right now in college football.
Innovation-wise, titanium shafts and a way of playing defense that no one had ever seen before. He really revolutionized the way lacrosse defense is played.
You're good.
Atkinson rolling inside off the mark. I remember talking a few months ago to John Thompson III, former head basketball coach at Georgetown and Princeton. And JT3 told me when he was at Princeton, Tierney would come to his basketball practices. They'd watch film together, and he would try to steal some ideas from basketball, steal some concepts that he could apply.
Yeah, the great ones always want to keep learning. They always want to keep improving. And there's obviously a lot of cross sports lessons, strategies. You're seeing that a lot now with 10-man rides and basketball presses.
When Tierney took the Princeton job, Pete Carrill was the basketball coach, and Tierney looked at Carrill and said, okay, he's winning against teams with superior talent, and that's what Princeton had to do in the early days. Walker! He's a superior talent, but that one denied by Peters. 4.5 to go.
Walker, high to high, doesn't change planes, doesn't change levels, no sort of deception, an easy one.
Now, Brown's the guy if you're Denver, you press out on him, don't you?
I think so, yeah.
Let's see how aware of shot clock and game clock now Princeton becomes here. I know it's only a 2-goal differential, but 80 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, in an ideal world, you take some of the clock off and then generate a quality look towards the end.
You can't take your foot off the gas pedal, but killing a minute's not the worst thing in the world either.
6 on 5 here with a broken stick.
And now Sowers against Squires.
This is where I'd be aggressive. You've got a man advantage. Granted, you want to milk some of the clock.
Now Logan's back on now for Denver. Shot clock under 20. Sowers has owned this matchup. Feeding Cordry, backhanded shovel. Princeton with its largest lead of the game.
Pretty much an ideal possession here for the Tigers. You get the ball to your best player. You take the clock all the way down. The dump inside, and Cordry, the acrobatic finish. But here you'll see Sowers double-teamed, has the touch to get that, and what a handle by Cordry. I mean, we've been singing Sowers' praise, but really that play was all about Cordry, the incredible catch and then underhand finish, backhanded underhand finish for that matter.
So now Sowers 4th all-time in points at Princeton, tied with the great Jesse Hubbard. Denver's won 9 straight faceoffs. And that long pull on the faceoff wing has taken away any transition for Denver. This time they don't win the faceoff. Song comes up with the ground ball. Stevens, he can put it away. And a save by Rennie!
What a save! I'm sure Mr. Sowers is going to have a word with Stevens after the game.
Multiple great plays.
We got a penalty coming.
And Andrew Song's ground ball and then handle on the far sideline was a great play. This save was insane.
McHugh, Matt Neufeld just got pinged for a hit to the head. He's in the box for 1 minute. There's 2:50 left in the game. Denver's down by 3, so as big as that save was, the penalty negates all of that. Denver doesn't have the ball. Princeton can kill clock, and with the new shot clock rules, Denver may not get the ball 3 times to have a chance to tie this game.
That did
Kill
not
the full
look
80,
like,
right? Kill the full 80?
Yeah, I would. That did not look like the most vicious of hits there on that sideline.
Kill the full 80, get your correct defensive personnel on the field and roll the ball in the corner. Or late in the shot clock, you know, give the ball to Sowers and have him isolate. Maybe draw another foul.
Stay right there, Emmy. Right here in this alley. Right here in this alley. I'll talk to you. I'm talking to you.
Great communication there by Coach Marks, dictating exactly what he wants to see. I'd take a shot in the last 10. Give it to Sowers.
Yeah, give it to 22.
Just give it to
22, have him run around. I mean, if you score, the game's pretty much over.
Clock's more important than score at this juncture.
All right, we're back to even strength now, 6 on 6. About 15 seconds on the shot clock. And here is Sowers, the ankle breaker, looking for Cordray, rolling toward the sideline. Princeton turns it over. 1:36 to go now.
Sowers has got to know, though, that is not the time to take a risk. Those turnovers going from behind the cage in front late in the shot clock can lead to transition.
Here's Geis. Bardaro out to greet him. Sullivan had the game winner against Towson on Saturday. Finale of a 4-game road trip for Denver. One of those games canceled. That was against Ohio State. Geis trying to get past the shorty. We come up on a minute to play, and Denver still has a pulse. 14-12, Austin French, another goal.
Beautiful sneak here on the backside by French. You'll see him on the right side of your screen. He catches Princeton over-rotating, cuts to the open spot. And Roberts, an unnecessary risk there, but Denver's got more of a pulse based off the way they've been playing on these faceoffs.
And Ryan, now Princeton's gone back to 2 short sticks on the wings.
Yeah, you'll see 18 here on the near side, and he shall probably take a defensive posture if what I saw between he and Coach Madeline means anything.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Why wouldn't he go all the way down to the end of the wing?
Denver's got 2 short sticks too, but they need the offense. We get a whistle. It's going to belong to Denver.
And you've got a great opportunity to go 5-on-5 with no poles. Go ahead.
They're going quickly. Jackson to Geis. Draws the slide. Geis out of trouble. 45 seconds to go. Now Jackson, left hand, saved by Peters. That's Jackson's old high school teammate, ground ball. Sullivan, it's still on the turf. 35 seconds, and we get a whistle. There's a flag down. Huge call coming up.
Go back, go back. Personal foul, 32 white, /1 minute. 32 white, /1 minute.
So with 34 seconds to go in the game, Denver will be man up. Penalty on Song. First man up opportunity for Denver. Only 23% on the man up this season, and they've got to go quickly. Walker to Jackson. Less than 30 seconds. Jackson feeding the crease. Saved by Peters! And Karam's out to Geis. 20 seconds. Geis, full head of steam. Loads up and scores! A one-goal game. 15.8 to go on the scoreboard.
What a ground ball here by Geis. Not sure why Anderson is chasing him all the way outside the box. Princeton slow to rotate up to the ball. They never stop it. Geis says, thank you very much. I will gladly take this. And this game is living up to the billing.
Now it comes down to this face-off if Denver wants to send it to overtime. Song, a pole, back on the face-off wing for Princeton.
Denver's got 2 timeouts here.
Bose wins the face-off. Bose all the way, saved by Peters. French able to retrieve. Race to the end line, won by Denver. Not a lot of time left. Time expires unless Denver called a timeout.
Issue with the clock.
Yeah,
there should be at least 4 seconds to go.
And that's what Bill Tierney's screaming about. Now the refs will confer. A wild sequence in the final moments, just when it looked like Princeton had this locked away.
I looked up and saw about 4.3 seconds to go.
Why Princeton did not run their pole all the way down the end of the wing off that faceoff, I'm just not sure I understand that.
Well, why didn't Denver call timeout when Bose brought it into the box?
Yeah,
3.3 seconds on the clock. Yes, 3.3 seconds on the clock. Timeout, White.
Princeton calls a timeout. 3.3 seconds left. Tigers trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. This is the type of win for Matt Madelon that can change the trajectory of a season. It can frankly change the trajectory of a program. Given all the prologue, the return of Bill Tierney. For Denver, they have been the team that's been on the road. Played at Towson over the weekend, had a game against Ohio State canceled. Played Notre Dame away from home. And now, Bill Tierney going for career win number 400. First game back at Princeton since leaving for Denver a decade ago. This is the place he won the 6 national championships. He spent 22 seasons. He transformed a program. And he left his Princeton days having won the last 18 games on this field.
And he's still got plenty of time left to pull this one out.
What do you do? 3.3 left. What's the play?
You still have plenty of opportunity to dodge. Three seconds. You can get in front of the cage. Expect a lot of off-ball action, picks, slips to try to create some separation. I would look out for Walker and Geis, some shooters from the outside. The Princeton, I'm putting Vaughn on the ball. I don't care who's picking it up. I'm putting Vaughn on the ball, and then I'm just saying let's switch everything off ball.
And off ball, switch, but also be extremely physical.
Yes.
Hold, a legal check, do anything you can. Don't worry about a penalty here. Penalty doesn't matter. Tackle the guy if you have to.
Simmons will trigger for Denver.
Watch French right on the doorstep.
Simmons whips one out of bounds and hits the turf. And Princeton, a winner in Bill Tierney's return.